it just looks a little bit underwheeled to me. So this is what I'm going to use. It's a rubber O-ring designed for plumbing. They come in a variety of different sizes. So we'll get on with it. For this bit, you really need to focus. You really got to concentrate. It can take no time at all, but do not get this wrong. You don't want super glue everywhere. Make sure you've got a couple of cotton buds handy there, like your fire extinguishers. If you suddenly find you've got super glue where it shouldn't be, just get it straight off with that. You don't want it filling up the wheel and filling up the axle and making it so wrecking the car. So you just want to put tiny amounts. You've got to be so really gentle with how you squeeze the body of the glue of the glue tube, and just put it all around the rim like that. Just get it all the way around, because there's no point leaving a gap where the thing might be coming off later or whatever. So just get it on there, then you've got a very brief window while the glue hardens to position it. So, but the good thing about doing it while it's on the car like this, you can spin the wheel and make sure it spins properly, and make sure it's not offset or anything like that. So you see it looks a little bit. So let's just ow. Yeah, wear thin gloves before you do this. Don't be like me, but spend half my adult life unbonding my fingers. No. That looks all right. That looks okay. It seems to. I mean, don't forget these rings. They weren't designed for augmenting the wheels of 45-year-old toy cars. They're supposed to be used as, like, I don't know, sealing pipes and things like that. So you might not necessarily get them absolutely laser accurate, but if you just keep doing little checks like this as you go along, just make sure it still looks like a sensible. Just make sure it still looks like a rolling car wheel should, and not one of those clown bicycles. Doing this is a lot easier when you're not trying to make sure that the camera's picking it all up. So I just had a little bit of a mess about with it off camera, and yeah, it seems to be rolling just as straight. This is where you really need to concentrate, because you only want to get a very small amount of paint on there, but on the other hand, you do want to cover it. You want to try and avoid getting it into the holes, the spokes, so to speak, of the wheel, because you want those to still be there to make it look more like a wheel. We'll try and get it a little bit more around the edge like that, and then then it's just a case of gently putting it in the middle of the wheel and just circulating it around like that. And that's not gone too badly. It's nicely covered the centre of the wheel without filling the holes in, so it still looks like a wheel. It's now got more of an alloy wheel cover to it. But then we've got the paint around the inside. We've got it around the inside of the O-ring, so that kind of forms a wheel rim. Now, obviously, it's a bit uneven around the edge. It's not a perfect circle, but we're going to deal with that. Don't worry about that. So now we'll do the other side. There should be enough paint left on there to do it. Yep, and that's going okay. Don't worry if you happen to fill the thing in with. If you happen to get too much paint on there and you do end up filling the holes with it, I mean, getting just that right amount on does take a bit of practice. Like, I've probably not quite got enough on there with this one, so we'll just go around the actual. Sorry, you can't see that. We'll just go around the actual rim bit itself just one more time. Try not to get too much around the edge as well, because it just creates work for you then when you're taking it off. So while it's still wet, we'll just try and shave that down a little bit with the other end of the cotton bud. because it's only going to, like I say, it's only going to create more work if we leave that and let that dry. So don't worry if you do happen to fill all the holes in and you don't like it like that. The good old, the black Posca fine tip should sort that out. Just dab it into the hole. So that's all we can do for now, because we really do need to let this, but you can see already they're starting to look a little bit more like wheel rims. So we really do need to just let that dry properly. Dip your finger in a little bit of water and just put it around the edge like that, just to lubricate the sanding seal. And then very, very gently, like I say, this is such a gentle grip pad now that it's highly unlikely that, well, there's no chance of us actually damaging the paint of the car itself. But just get the edge like that and just use a circular motion and just get, so you can see it's starting to get a bit of water on the pad itself, and just round and round, nice and gentle. And you can see it's just leaving us with a nice edge, nice straight edge, so it actually looks like a wheel. Just keep it going, and then if you need to get any off the sides, as I was saying earlier, the more you leave on the sides, the more work you've got to do now. So it was worth getting that bit of an overspill off. And then every now and then, because you can't really see exactly what kind of progress you've made, because there's a bit of water on there as well, just every now and then dry it all off with a pad. So we might have actually taken a bit too much off there. Yeah, we have probably just maybe attacked this a little bit too early. I'll be honest, I only probably gave it about 20 minutes to dry. Really, you're better off, when you get it to that stage, you're better off just leaving it for most of the day, to be honest, and just coming back to it later. So I've done the front wheel pretty much off camera. It's a lot easier to do off camera, of course, because you're not working around the camera and the strange contraption I've got it set up on, and it really is a strange contraption. So it's obviously a lot easier to do off camera, and that's worked out a lot better. I've put some more paint on the back one, so we'll let that one dry, and then we'll get to that one. So yeah, you should find it a lot easier to do it, unless you're planning on filming your first ever attempt at it, which, I mean, if you want to do that, you can, but assuming you're not filming, you'll find this a lot easier to do. So it's the heat shrink from last time, but the difference is this time you've just got to be really careful how you cut it, because you actually need it to be straight on both sides. We can't sand this. Once it's on, once this like heat shrink kind of tyre, central sort of tyre tread is on there, we can't sand it down like you can with the others on the last video, so it's got to be measured out. So the width of the Metro's wheel now is 6 millimeters with the little ring added to it. So I've marked out 5 millimeters on the heat shrink, because I don't want it to come, I want it to cover the wheel and just come nicely up to the edge of the rubber O-ring that we put on there. You don't want it to overlap it, because then the wheel probably won't roll, because we haven't got a lot of space to play with here. We can probably only just get the this wrap around the wheel on there. So that's done. So you just got to very, very carefully cut it now, which I'm going to do off camera because it'll be really awkward to try and do it underneath this camera. So we just offer it up to the wheel like that. It just nicely fits over. This is 10 millimeter width heat shrink, by the way. That's just right to go over this wheel. And then just get it just over the edge like that. So it's just over the wheel now. Just make sure it's all lined up perfectly. And then as before, just really, really quickly just flash it on. As you flash certain bits of it on, you should find it will shrink to fit the wheel, and then you can rotate the wheel around a little bit more to be able to do the next bit, and so on. That's what we end up with, something that looks a little bit more like a tyre rather than that. I did heat shrink this mostly off camera because it's just a lot easier to hold the car and hold the lighter accurately when you haven't got a camera in the way. I keep saying that, don't I? As though it's some kind of curse, but yeah, until I get a better tripod, it sort of is. I just put a little bit of Tamiya clear on my fingertip and just went around the edge to just kind of slick the edge of the wheel a bit. So that's more or less what we end up with.